My name's Haley, and I found out my dad sold my childhood home the same way you find out your neighbor's got a new roof, by looking up and seeing a sign out front. He didn't warn me, he didn't ask, and he definitely didn't expect what I did next. If you've been through something like this, share your experience in the comments. At the job trailer in Pittsburgh, one screen held emails and the other held a punch list. My phone stayed face down. Problems with invoices felt easier than relatives. It buzzed twice. Mrs. Donnelly's name flashed. She'd lived next door to my childhood house. "Haley, are you home?" the text read. A photo came next. My old front yard, my mom's azaleas, and a bright red sign planted by the porch. Sold. My foreman asked if everything was fine. Keys were in my hand before I answered him. He said, "Everything okay?" "Family thing," I told him. He nodded like he'd heard it before, which he had. I didn't say the thing was my father selling the house where my mom died to cover his girlfriend's debts. That sounded ridiculous. On the drive, I called Dennis Caldwell. Once. Twice. Straight to voicemail. The third time, the call didn't even ring before it dropped. No text back. When I turned onto our street, the sign hit first, like it had been planted for me. Sold. Not pending. Done. Dennis stood on the front steps with a realtor in a navy blazer. Next to them was Laura, the girlfriend he swore was temporary, the one who always had a new emergency. They were smiling like this was a kitchen remodel. I crossed the lawn. "Dad, you sold it?" He looked at the realtor, not at me. "Adult business," he said. "You don't need to know." Laura stepped closer, voice sweet in that practiced way. "We're just settling debts," she said. "That's all." Settling her debts with my mother's house. The realtor shifted his folder and tried to place me. "Hi, I'm Mark. Are you her sister or—" "Daughter," I said, and apparently I got sold as an add-on. Mark's smile froze. He glanced at Dennis like there should have been a form for this. I moved for the door. "I'm not here to argue," I said. "I need a few things. Mom's jewelry box, the photo albums, the blue quilt." Dennis stepped down and filled the doorway with his body. "You're not taking anything. Those are Mom's." He kept his voice even, like he was reading a policy. "It belongs to the new owners now," he said. "Same as this house." Mark's hand tightened on the folder. A manila envelope slid out far enough for me to read the label. Allegheny title, closing, Friday, 2 p.m. Dennis saw my eyes land there and snapped, "Paperwork was signed last month." I glanced at the Ring doorbell by the trim. The little light that usually blinked was dead. Mrs. Donnelly had come up behind me. "It's been out all week," she muttered. Funny timing. A car rolled to the curb, then another. Mark straightened and started down the steps, professional again. "Okay," he called. "Walk through now, then we'll do the lock change." Dennis turned back toward the house. My fingers closed around the iron gate as strangers came up the path, and the front door opened. By the time the locksmith stepped past me with his toolbox, my fingers hurt from gripping the gate. I released it before anyone could say I'd caused a problem, and walked to my car with my jaw clenched. 20 minutes back to the site, my phone filled up. Aunt Janet asked why I was starting trouble. A cousin told me to respect your father. Mrs. Donnelly sent, "You made it out okay?" Then Dennis finally texted, "Do not come back. You're embarrassing me in front of people." At the job trailer, Craig waved me into the office without looking up from his laptop. "Haley, you left the site," he said. "Family emergency," I said. "We need a heads up. You're coordinating 3 trades. I can swap shifts. I'll stay late." Craig studied my face, then nodded like this was the best he was going to get. "Fine, switch with Jenna tomorrow, and next time, send 1 sentence before you vanish." Work dragged me forward whether I wanted it or not. I checked deliveries, answered emails, and kept my voice flat when people asked if everything was okay. The question kept coming from everyone like it was scheduled. During lunch, Dennis called for real. I took it behind the trailer where no one could hear. "What now?" he said. "I'm not asking for the house," I said. "I need Mom's jewelry box and the albums." "They're not yours." They were hers. They belonged to the buyers, he replied. Stop acting entitled. Entitled is selling it and pretending I'm the neighbor, I said. His breath snapped through the line. You always make things ugly. He ended the call. 2 more texts followed, fast. Do not contact the realtor. If you show up again, I will call the police. That night, Marisol Reyes found me rinsing concrete dust off my hands in the site's sink. Food, she said, now. A diner 2 blocks away had coffee that tasted like it was mad at you. Marisol slid into the booth and waited until I stopped staring at my phone. Tell me the version that doesn't protect him, she said. The facts came out like a checklist. Sold sign, Dennis on the steps, Laura hovering, locksmith, folder that said Allegheny title. Marisol didn't gasp, she just nodded. Rule 1, she said, don't fight him with feelings, collect proof. Rule 2, she added, whoever talks first gets believed first. He's already working the neighborhood, right? As if he'd heard her, my phone buzzed with a Facebook notification. Dennis had posted a selfie with a mug and the line, sometimes kids don't understand what parents have to do to survive. The comments were full of hearts and prayer hands. Marisol read over my shoulder. Your dad really picked the brave single parent filter, she said. Comes with a victim soundtrack, I said. She pointed at the streak of gray on my sleeve. You build houses for other people all day, and yours gets sold in a meeting. Irony level. Pittsburgh. Marisol tapped the table. That folder, what did it say exactly? Allegheny title, closing Friday at 2. And he told you he signed last month? Yeah. She narrowed her eyes. If it's done, why's there a closing scheduled? That's not how done looks. Back at my truck, I called Allegheny title. A woman answered in a bright, practiced tone. Allegheny title, how can I help you? My name is Haley Steinfeld. I'm calling about a property on Arbor Street. Do you have a file number? No, I'm the seller's daughter. Her voice cooled. I'm sorry, ma'am. If you're not listed on the file, I can't discuss anything. Can you confirm there's a closing Friday at 2? I can't confirm or deny. Got it, I said. I'm not on paper. An hour later, a voicemail popped up from an unknown number. Mark the realtor sounded like we were friends. Hi, Haley. Walkthrough and log change are Friday. Any personal items have to be removed before then, okay? My watch read 3:17. Friday was 3 days away. I replayed the voicemail, saved it, and texted Jenna immediately. The calendar app opened, and my thumbs started dragging meetings out of the way. Jenna's meeting slid off my calendar, and mine slid into hers. Friday at 2 p.m. stayed pinned in the middle of everything, like a nail you keep snagging your sleeve on. The next day, lunch break meant downtown. At the Allegheny County records counter, I wrote my childhood address on a request slip and pushed it forward. I need the property records. The clerk glanced up. Name on the deed? Dennis Caldwell. Keys clacked. Papers came out. One page listed a home equity line opened 3 months earlier. Another showed the mailing address changed from Dad's old P.O. box to Laura's apartment. Not mine, not the house. A note below it read, Contact email updated. Same last name as hers, same timing as the doorbell light going dead. So when Dennis said he'd signed last month, he wasn't improvising. He'd been setting the table, quietly moving the mail and the messages somewhere I'd never see them. My phone buzzed as I left the building. Stop digging, Dennis texted. Don't go near the house. If you show up again, you'll be trespassed. No anger, just procedure. Mark's office sat over a dry cleaner. The receptionist watched me walk in like she recognized my boots. Can I help you? 214 Arbor, I said. I need Mark. She didn't reach for the phone. Are you a party to the transaction? I'm the seller's daughter. We can't discuss that file. Then tell me what I need to do to get my mother's photo albums. Her mouth tightened. Do you have documentation proving ownership? I have a birth certificate, I said, but I'm guessing your software doesn't take those. A door opened. Mark stepped out, smile stretched thin. Haley, hey, this is complicated. Is it? I said. or is it convenient?" He lowered his voice. "Your dad asked us not to engage. He said you might cause trouble." "I showed up alone," I said. "That's my entire brand." Mark handed me a card with a second number written in pen. "Buyer's agent," he said. "If you want anything, ask through them. I can't let you back in." I called from the sidewalk. "This is Karen," the woman answered. "My name is Haley Steinfeld," I said. "I'm not trying to stop the sale. I need 15 minutes to collect my mom's personal items." A pause. "Dennis told my clients you weren't stable," she said. "I'm sorry. We can't allow access before closing." "Let me stand on the porch while you watch," I said. "I'll point. You hand it to me." Karen exhaled. "I'll ask," she said. "No promises." After work, the street pulled me back anyway. The sold sign still leaned near the porch. A moving truck sat in the drive. 2 guys carried boxes toward the door. I stayed on the public sidewalk and raised both hands. "I'm not coming onto the property," I called. "I just need to talk to whoever's in charge." Dennis came out fast, phone already in his hand. "Leave," he said. "I'm not on your grass." "You're harassing," he said, and tapped his screen. "I'm calling the police." A patrol car rolled up within minutes. The officer walked over, tired but polite, and glanced between us. "Ma'am, your father wants you off the property," he said. "I'm on the sidewalk," I said. "I'm trying to get my mother's things." He nodded once, like he'd heard this same sentence from 100 different families. "This is civil," he said, "but if he requests a no trespass, I have to document it." Dennis stood behind him, arms folded, calm as a man waiting for a receipt. The officer flipped open his pad and looked at me. "Full name and date of birth?" I gave it to him. His pen moved, slow and official. He asked if I had any identification. My wallet felt heavier than it should. Dennis watched the whole thing without blinking. "Once this is issued," the officer said, "if you return onto the property, you can be cited." "Even to pick up a box of photos?" I asked. He shook his head. "Not without permission." He tore the form, handed me the copy, and started to say, "Ma'am, step back," the officer finished, guiding me a few feet down the sidewalk like he was moving a chair, not a person. My copy of the no trespass notice fluttered in my hand as the moving guys kept carrying boxes through the front door. Dennis didn't say a word to me. He just watched the officer do it, the way people watch a waiter confirm the order. "Do you understand?" the officer asked. "Yes," I said. "Okay, go home." Dennis finally spoke once the officer turned. "You did this to yourself," he said. The next morning, my phone lit up before I even got to the job trailer. Laura called first. I let it go to voicemail. She texted anyway. "Stop harassing Dennis. Get help." Then she sent a third message, like she was doing me a favor. "Your mom's stuff is handled." At lunch, Karen, the buyer's agent, called back. "My clients won't grant access," she said, "and I need to be clear. They've been told you're unpredictable." "Unpredictable," I repeated. "That's the word used." "Are my mother's things still there?" I asked. Another pause. I could hear papers shifting. "Some personal items were removed," Karen said, "before the listing. I don't know what. Your father said you already took what you wanted." "That's not true. I'm just telling you what's on my end." After work, Mrs. Donnelly met me at the edge of her yard. She didn't invite me closer, and I didn't ask. Her eyes kept flicking toward my old porch as if the house might hear us. "Haley," she said, "I'm sorry." "Did you see anything?" I asked. She nodded, then hesitated, like she hated being part of it. "Week and a half ago," she said. "A truck came early. Not a big moving company, just a rental. 2 men. Your dad carried a couple boxes. Your doorbell thing wasn't working." "Did they take the albums?" My voice came out too flat, like I was ordering supplies. Mrs. Donnelly swallowed. "I saw photo books," she said. "The big kind. And a small wooden box, like a jewelry box." The street went tight around me. A second passed where words didn't show up. "Did anyone record it?" I asked. She pointed across the street. "Mr. Patel's system records the street. He showed me the clip. Timestamp was Tuesday morning, 6:12. Mr. Patel didn't want drama. He said it right away at his front steps. I don't want trouble, he told me. I won't touch anything, I said. I just need a copy. He emailed me a short video. Grainy, but clear enough. A rented truck. My father lifting boxes like he had all the time in the world. Laura's car parked behind him, trunk open. My phone buzzed while I watched it. Dennis, I heard you're bothering the neighbors. Dennis, stop. You're making yourself look worse. A minute later, Karen sent a message. Please refrain from approaching the property. Any contact must go through me. Then Mark, the realtor, forwarded something he probably didn't mean to send to me at all. An email chain, my name misspelled, a note from Dennis at the bottom. Do not let Haley onto the premises. She has issues and may become aggressive. No one used the word daughter. I was a problem with a first name. Marisol met me in the parking lot after my shift, took one look at my face, and steered me to my truck. Show me, she said. I handed her the no trespass notice, then the emailed clip, then the text from Laura. Marisol didn't soften. She didn't need to. He's writing the story, she said, and he's writing you as the villain, so everything he does looks like protection. He already got my name on paperwork, I said. That's the point, Marisol replied. If you keep running at that porch, you help him. My phone rang again. Laura this time. I declined it. She left a voicemail that hit my inbox immediately. Just stop, she said. You're embarrassing him. The house is sold. The items are gone. Move on. Marisol watched my thumb hover over the delete button. Don't, she said. Save it. We stood there while trucks moved in the distance and my work radio crackled from someone else's belt. The urge to drive back to Arbor Street rose up like a reflex, and then it died because there was nothing left to grab at the gate. Downtown, the courthouse doors pushed open with a heavy sigh. At the records office, a clerk slid another printout toward me. I folded it, tucked it into my folder, and opened my phone. Notes app, new list. Records, attorney, credit, money, time. I walked out with the screen glowing in my palm, the map app already searching my old neighborhood as my steps sped up toward my car. My apartment door shut behind me, and the hallway smell of fryer oil faded. On my kitchen table, I spread the no trespass notice, the county printouts, and a yellow legal pad with MOM written at the top. Under it were the things Mrs. Donnelly had named: photo albums, the wooden jewelry box, now marked missing. The paperwork made me look like the problem. A police form with my name, a realtor's email calling me aggressive, and a buyer's agent repeating it like it was a diagnosis. Dennis hadn't needed to win an argument. He just needed a file. I sat down, opened my bank app, and watched the numbers sit there, indifferent. Rent due next week. Student loan auto draft. Savings I'd been hoarding for a down payment someday. A someday that suddenly had a street address. My throat tightened. Then I forced my hands to move instead of my mouth. A call to Dennis would feel good for 30 seconds and cost me months. That was the pattern. Show up at the gate, plead, get blocked, get labeled, and leave with less than I came for. The house wasn't listening, and neither was he. If I kept running at the same door, all I'd do was make it easier for him to lock it. The laptop booted up with its familiar whine. 2 folders appeared on the desktop. Legal rectums, leverage. Nothing dramatic, just words that made the next step obvious. Every text from Dennis went into a screenshot album. Laura's voicemail got saved. Mr. Patel's video clip went into a cloud drive with the date in the title. Then I set my phone to silence for his number and turned off read receipts like it was a seatbelt. There was a knock. Marisol didn't wait. She used the spare key from the last time a work emergency meant a busted water line. Eat, she said, dropping a paper bag on the counter. 2 breakfast burritos, then a stapled packet. A listing draft, no photos yet, addressed to 216 Arbor Street, next door. Where did you get this? I asked. Jenna's cousin works with an agent, Marisol said. The owner's moving to assisted living. It'll hit the market soon. A tiny map thumbnail showed both lots. You don't need to step onto 214 again, she said. You need to stand in the right place on this map. The idea landed heavy because it wasn't emotional, it was logistical. Buy the house next door, and I'd have something Dennis couldn't trespass me from. Something the new owners of 214 might eventually need. A lever, not a plea. It's a whole house, I said. It's a whole chance, Marisol answered, and chances come with price tags. I pulled up my spreadsheet, the one I used for job budgets in my own life when I felt myself drifting. Numbers lined up like studs behind drywall. Purchase price estimate, closing costs, repair reserve, what my savings could cover, what a loan would have to bridge. Contractors don't take grief as payment, and neither does a credit union either. If I did it, the cushion disappeared. One unexpected expense, and I'd be eating ramen in a half-painted kitchen. If I didn't, the sale at 214 would close, the locks would change, and Dennis would keep telling people I was unstable until it became a fact by repetition. Marisol watched me calculate without interrupting. You're not buying it out of spite, she said, like she could read my face. You're buying it because you're out of options that involve begging. I'm buying it because it's next door, I said. That too. The credit union's number was already in my contacts from refinancing my car. I hit call. Riverside Community Credit Union. My name is Haley Steinfeld. I need a pre-approval appointment as soon as possible. He asked income and employer, then offered 9 a.m. the next morning. I'll be there, I said. After we hung up, the printer spit out pay stubs, W-2s, and bank statements. I added a one-page repair budget, slid everything into a folder, grabbed my keys, and checked my phone. The calendar entry glowed. Schedule, pre-approval /9 a.m. The lock clicked, and my feet kept moving. Riverside Community Credit Union smelled like carpet cleaner. The loan officer, a woman named Beth, tapped my pay stubs into a neat stack and asked the questions people ask when they're deciding whether you're safe. Any recent legal issues? Define recent, I said. Beth didn't smile. Are you currently subject to any orders or notices? I slid the no trespass copy across the desk and watched her scan it. She set it down without drama, but she clicked her pen slower afterward. This will need review, Beth said. It's not a restraining order, I said. I understand, she replied, but underwriting doesn't like surprises. Review meant time. Time was the thing Dennis had already stolen. After the meeting, Marisol met me at a coffee shop. I handed her Beth's business card and the list of conditions, letter of explanation, proof I hadn't been charged with anything, and a clean payment history. You're going to write the letter, Marisol said. I'm not good at sounding human on paper, I said. Sound factual, she said. Dates. What happened? No adjectives. Let them get bored. That afternoon, the neighbor listing turned real. Jenna forwarded a link from her cousin's agent. 216 Arbor would go live Monday morning. Showing started that same day. I drove past after work. The grass looked like nobody had cared in months. A driveway ran between the house and mine, the kind that always felt shared even when it wasn't. The utility boxes sat in a row along the side yard, close enough that one shovel could hit both properties. On Monday, I called the agent listed on the preview. Her name was Dina. She offered me a 15-minute slot at noon, like it was nothing. The tour took 10. Dina talked about good bones, while I watched water stains and counted outlets. In the side hall, a scuffed panel showed an old access for plumbing. The same line ran under the fence to Dad's place, something Mom had complained about once when the yard flooded. Before I left, my email pinged. Mark, the realtor on 214, had forwarded a scheduling update to the wrong address again. My name sat in the CC line, misspelled, like a joke he didn't notice. The attachment was a contractor quote for an addition concept and a note from the buyer, Arbor Street Holdings, LLC. Under that, Dennis had replied, "Next lot may be available soon, worth exploring for setbacks." My hands went cold on the phone. This wasn't just him dumping the house to pay Laura's bills. He'd been packaging it, finding buyers who wanted more space and pointing them at the neighbor's yard. The Friday 2 p.m. closing, the signed last month, the dead doorbell light, none of it was random. If the notices and emails went to Laura and the recording stopped, then no one could prove when boxes left or who took what. My phone rang while I stood in Dina's driveway. Beth from the credit union sounded cautious. "We received a message raising concerns," Beth said. "From who?" "I can't disclose that. It referenced a police notice and suggested further review." A second text arrived from Dina. "Just a heads up, another buyer requested an early showing. Seller wants speed." The timing felt engineered. Marisol met me in a parking lot with a pen. "You don't hand anyone cash," she said. "No," I said. "Everything through title and an attorney. And you give Beth a clean letter. You were told to leave, you left. End of story." "Someone's trying to poison the loan," I said. "Then you disinfect it with paperwork," Marisol replied. That night, the letter got drafted, signed, and scanned. The next morning, I requested the recorded easement maps and setback rules for the block, plus any notes on shared utilities. Each document went into the folder labeled Leverage. By noon, I was back at Allegheny Title, folder on the counter, calendar app open to a blank week. "I need the earliest closing possible," I said. The clerk reached for the paperwork, and my thumb hovered over the next available date as she started to read my name aloud. 3 weeks later, Dina from the listing met me at Allegheny Title with a stack of papers that weighed more than the house looked like it should. Beth's underwriter had accepted my letter, and the fact that a no trespass notice isn't a crime. I signed until my wrist cramped, wired every dollar of my savings, and left with 2 keys and a loan that would sit on my shoulders for years. The first roofer arrived the next morning. After that came an electrician who shook his head at the panel, an HVAC tech who called the furnace original, and a plumber who found a shared line running toward 214 Arbor, exactly where Mom used to complain the yard got soggy. Permits got pulled, inspections got passed, and my evenings disappeared into receipts and spreadsheets. By the end of 8 weeks, 216 didn't look like a rescue project anymore. The porch light worked. The grass was cut. The kitchen had cabinets that shut all the way. A fresh coat of paint did what paint always does. It convinced people the foundation wasn't a mess. Neighbors started waving again, which told me Dennis had run out of new lines. The call came on a Tuesday while I was on a job site. A man introduced himself as Paul Harker, representing Arbor Street Holdings, LLC. "We own 214, he said. "I know," I said. "We'd like to discuss a purchase of your property." A conference room at a real estate attorney's office was booked for Friday morning. Mark showed up with Paul, a designer named Sienna, and a contractor with forearms like hammers. Dennis arrived 10 minutes late, dressed like he was headed to church, not a negotiation. Paul spread drawings across the table. "Here's the plan," he said. "We want a garage addition and a wider driveway. We can't meet setbacks with only 214. The easement for the utility run complicates it. The permit office told us we need more frontage." Sienna pointed with a pen. "If we combine the lots, we can comply," she said. "Without that, the project dies." They all looked at me like I was a speed bump with a mortgage. A folder slid from my bag onto the table. The first page was my offer. "Purchase price is 2 times appraised market for 216, I said. "Closing in 30 days. No contingencies." Paul blinked. "That's aggressive," he said. "It's accurate," I said. Dennis leaned forward, eyes sharp. "You're doing this to punish me," he said. "This is between me and them," I said. He ignored that. "You're greedy. Your mother would be ashamed." Paul cleared his throat. "Can we negotiate?" he asked. "I am," I said. "That's the number." Dennis's face tightened. "Who do you think you are?" "The homeowner next door," I said. Paul tried again. "We can offer a premium, but not double." I opened my folder to the next tab and slid it across. Recorded easement map, setback requirements, a note from the permit office explaining their options, in English. No added driveway width without additional lot line adjustment. Sienna read it, then stopped arguing with the heir. "This matches what they told us," she said to Paul. Another sheet followed, an email chain with Dennis's reply highlighted. "Next lot may be available soon, worth exploring for setbacks." Dennis's neck went red. "That was just conversation," he snapped. Paul looked from the email to Dennis like he'd finally spotted the hand behind the curtain. "So you knew," Paul said. Dennis shifted in his chair, searching for a way to make it sound noble. "I was trying to help," he said. The attorney, who'd said almost nothing until then, pushed a wire instruction form toward Paul. "If you want the project, you need this lot," she said. "Decide." Paul stared at the offer again, then at his contractor, then at the setback notes. He picked up a pen. "I don't like it," he said, "but we'll do it." A printer on the credenza started spitting out confirmations. I took my copy when it slid into the tray, stacked the papers into my folder, and stood. Dennis stayed seated, hands locked together, watching the ink dry. Paul's wire hit my account 3 days later. The alert popped up while I was kneeling in 216's flower bed, yanking out weeds that came with the place. I stood, wiped my hands on my jeans, and walked to the bank app, just to make sure it wasn't a glitch. Marisol called as if she'd been watching the screen with me. "Tell me you got it." "It cleared," I said. "Good. Pay the roof guy before he starts inventing weather," she said. The check went out, so did a transfer to the loan principal, because I'd learned that peace costs money up front or interest later. Arbor Street Holdings didn't waste time. Their contractor showed up with stakes and spray paint, and suddenly my block looked like a math problem. Neighbors leaned on porches and asked questions they pretended were about permits. Mrs. Donnelly caught me by the mailbox. "So that's why they wanted your lot," she said. "Looks like it," I answered. She tilted her head toward 214. "Your dad's been telling people you're, you know." "I know." "He tried it at book club," she said. Janet told him to stop. Out loud. That was how I found out my aunt had finally heard the whole story, because half the neighborhood had watched Dennis lose that meeting at the attorney's office, and the other half heard about it by dinner. Dennis's version didn't travel as well once it had competition. A week later, I drove past the apartment complex where his mail now went. The building had a security door and a lobby that smelled like vending machines. Dennis stood by the curb with 2 grocery bags cutting into his hands. The bags were thin enough to show a box of cereal. I parked. No hugging, no catching up. "You made a lot of money," he said. "It wasn't money," I said. "It was a sale." He scoffed. "Same thing." Laura's car pulled into the lot behind us. She didn't look at me. She opened her trunk and slid in a suitcase, then another. Dennis turned his head like he couldn't see it happening. "Is she moving?" I asked. "She needs space," he said quickly, "after all this stress you caused." Laura shut the trunk, got in, and drove away without waving. Dennis watched until she turned the corner, then faced me again, still trying to stand tall. "You could fix this," he said. "You could talk to your family, tell them you overreacted." I took out my phone and opened a notes app. "Send anything you need to say to my email," I said. "Work email, not my phone." His mouth tightened. "You're punishing me." "I'm organizing," I said. He stepped closer. "You think you're better than me because you have a house?" "I think I'm done being a headline on your Facebook," I said. A text came through before I got back to 216. "Dennis, call me. Dennis, we should meet and talk like adults. Dennis, you owe me respect." I didn't reply. I tapped his contact, hit block, and watched the screen ask if I was sure, like it was offering a second chance at a bad habit. That night, I stuck a small label on my keyring, "Next Door." It felt petty for about 2 seconds. Then it felt accurate. I renamed my Wi-Fi to "Not for sale unless it is," and left it at that. The only thing of Mom's I still had was a chipped ceramic dish she used to keep by the sink for rings. It had followed me from apartment to apartment because it was small enough to hide when Dennis came over. I rinsed it, set it on the kitchen counter, and put my own keys in it. On Saturday morning, Arbor Street Holdings started tearing up the side yard at 214. The noise carried, mechanical. I walked onto my porch anyway, coffee in one hand, keys in the other, and looked across at the house that used to be mine. Dennis wasn't there. No one waved. The workers didn't know my name. I stood for a beat, let the sound wash over the street, then turned toward my door with a calm smile and pushed it open.